I identify as asexual because it's way easier to say that than it is to say, yeah, I'm not interested in having sex with humans. I just like fictional characters.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
Just want to give a quick shout out to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/OPL show. For those of you who sign up, you get extra bonus episodes every single month, and you also get access to our Discord where sometimes you can chat with our community and previous guests.
Oh yeah, and we've got our guest on the line today. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we're going to be speaking about something that, to be honest, I've never heard of, Joe's never heard of, so we're really excited to dig into this topic of fictophilia. Can you just give us a definition of what that is?
Sure, yeah. So fictophilia is, it's basically when a person feels love or an emotion like that you'd feel for a normal human being, but you feel that for a fictional character. It's solely dedicated to someone who isn't real.
So you have a deeper connection than you would say like a regular person would to fictional characters. In what way do you mean? Like in a loving way? Is it in a sexual way, or is it like what kind of relationship?
It's kind of both. I would say. I would really define my particular case as definitely romantic. I feel like I connect with this character in a way that probably other people don't. I feel like I have something in common with them and can see parts of me in them, or just think, we would jive, we'd really get along. It's sexual too, yes, it can be, which is also an interesting aspect of it. As I identify as asexual because it's way easier to say that than it is to say, yeah, I'm not interested in having sex with humans. I just like fictional characters.
So you're strictly you're not sexually attracted to any other people. It's just straight fictional characters, or one fictional character, or is it many?
It changes at the moment. It is one. It's kind of like when you go through different relationships and you have partners. I guess right now I have one. And yeah, I'm just not attracted to humans, I guess, in the form of, somebody like me, warm-blooded, walking, living, breathing, any of that.
So when you say fictional character, is this someone, I guess, can you tell us who it is? Because I'm curious hearing this. Is this someone that's portrayed by a human, or is it more of like an animated character?
Sure. Don't mind sharing at all. When I wrote in, I was hoping that you guys are Star Wars nerds like me. I am madly in love with Kylo Ren from the latest series that came out to theaters.
Nice.
And yeah, that's Adam Driver, obviously. He portrays Kylo Ren in the films. But it's more than just Adam Driver. Not that he's, not deliciously attractive to lots of people, but it's more about the character that he's bringing to life that I feel something for.
Oh, okay. So I was under the impression that it was like a cartoon-based sort of thing, but I guess it's not. Has that ever been an attraction, or has it always been just these fictional characters that are played by humans?
Actually, funny you should bring that up. I just was talking to my mom about this weekend. My first crush was Max from a Goofy movie, if you guys have ever seen that.
Hell yeah, because my first crush was Roxanne.
Right, exactly, to be her, So I watched the movie as a kid. I think I was in second or third grade, and I just loved Max. I had to think often, why aren't real kids, real people as cool as he is? That kind of sucks. Nobody's out here, skateboarding and wearing cool clothes and a backwards hat to school. And that was my first foray into this weirdness.
Okay, because I can relate to that, because like I said, there was a point where I was obsessed with Roxanne from that movie.
She's hot.
I was oh, She's just a hot whatever animal that is. I have no idea, but they do a good job over there at Disney.
Yeah.
No, but so okay. So at what point did you, I assume before you saw that movie, you still didn't have an attraction to people, unless you did, and then when you saw that movie, it kind of like turned a switch in a way. But do you remember having any sort of attraction to anyone else, or has it always just been this sort of asexual, experience until you've seen these fictional characters?
Good question. Honestly, I would like to say that my sexuality, and probably everyone's sexuality, is more of a journey, and maybe without a true destination in mind. I've been through a lot of different areas of trying to figure out what is going on in my head. After, I was like, Max Goof is the best. I started hanging out with other kids, and I did develop crushes on people, and it's a common theme even now. When I would develop a crush on someone, I was ultimately let down because I was either comparing them to a fictional character, or I was just, at the very core, I was like, I just don't like it. I'm just not into it. I don't want to hold hands. I don't want to be touched. I don't know. It never clicked in the same way.
So how do you I guess you don't kind of separate the fact that these are fictional characters. Like Joe was saying, I think he has some examples that he could relate to, or I'm trying to think back of when I was younger, like Zooey Deschanel in 500 Days of Summer, or something where there was like that cool girl that seemed so perfect until the end. But
sorry to cut you off, but Mila Kunis in Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
perfect example.
God,
yeah,
even better example. So, like, yes, I've definitely felt, you see all these traits wrapped up in one, where you're like, oh, if this person existed, but then I guess there's that separation of, well, obviously this person doesn't exist because this is just a fictional character going through, what was written for them. But I guess, if we've felt that sort of connection to characters before, I guess what is it that makes it so much deeper for you to really only feel attraction to these fictional characters?
I think it really comes down to, I still want to feel a connection. I want to feel close to someone or something, I guess. And since I can't find it in another human being like me, I just pull from this connection that you feel naturally when you see a character. And I kind of allow it to, just kind of envelop, and take over. And I can imagine, what it would be like to be with this person. And I'm okay with that, I guess. I think finding that connection in my head and living through it in my head is enough for me. And it makes me happy.
So, you mentioned Kylo Ren being like the current person in your life. So how do you kind of indulge in that? Like, are you, watching the Star Wars movies like more often than, other people would? Or is there posters or pictures, or, is there anything, like, how do you indulge in Kylo Ren?
Yeah. Also a great question. I do watch the movies quite a bit. And it's exciting every single time. I'm one of those people who like can quote every line, and every time it's thrilling. It's exciting. I get to see it happen over again. I do have trinkets, it seeps out into everyday life. Everybody knows I love Kylo Ren. I have Star Wars tattoos. I went to Disneyland just to see Kylo Ren's, persona. So I do collect things. People love to gift me Star Wars memorabilia, but it's not really that. I don't think that really does it for me. It's more so inside of my head. As a creative person, my 9-to-5 job is being a writer. I do advertisements for a business, and I write all day long. And I think that helps me create a relationship or a scenario in my head that makes me feel wanted and makes me feel like I have something there. So let's say at night I'm trying to fall asleep. The way I like to indulge is just think about, what would we be doing on Star Killer Base, or how would we define our relationship?
Okay. Do you feel jealousy because obviously this is, a mass market character in, the maybe biggest movie franchise of all time. So clearly other people enjoy this character, like this character, have trinkets, posters. So do you feel like a certain ownership, and do you get jealous when you see other people that like the same character?
It's kind of funny because I don't feel jealousy towards other people who like Kylo Ren and are in the fandom. I guess if I do feel jealousy, it's for the character that he ultimately, falls in love with Rey at
Mm.
the end of the film. Spoiler alert. But that's the only jealousy I feel, and I think that's because even though in my mind I'm really lost in this fantasy, I know that there's probably someone else out there too who is also, dreaming of Kylo Ren holding you at night.
Yeah. Do you think that you are you even open to the? Would you actually describe yourself as asexual, or do you just do that because it's easier to explain?
Yeah, I would say asexual is a good way to describe it. It is way easier than trying to explain, what's really going on in my head. I have never slept with another person. And it's not something I'm interested in. And I've known that for a very long time, probably since high school. And back then I really didn't know what that was, and I felt weird and different. But that's not to say that, I'm not still getting my rocks off thinking about Kylo Ren, because that does happen. It's you know.
Of course it has to. No, but the reason why I was asking that is because if you had ever met someone that, I mean, Kylo Ren's a hard example, but if there was like someone who sort of emulated that, but if you do think that you are like asexual, and you just don't have that attraction towards humans, then my question was going to be, do you have hopes of ever meeting someone, or do you have any desire to like meet an actual like person that would fulfill these needs? But I guess with what you're saying right now, is the answer would be no.
Yeah. I will say I have come close. I have nearly felt the same kind of connection with someone else. But ultimately, I get to that point where something is about to be real, I would say, or something is about to happen. You get to this buildup, and then there's nothing for me. And it's probably sad for the other person involved, but for me, it's just like, I'm so sorry, but it's not that. I just can't do it. I don't think I would be happy, and I know you wouldn't be if your partner is miserable.
So do you feel like you are in a relationship with Kylo Ren? Like your day to day, is that kind of in your mind that you two are together, or does it not go that far?
It doesn't really go that far, and it's kind of like it's like a consent thing in my head. Actually, my nephew, who is he's still young, he's a kindergartner, and he loves to talk about Kylo Ren. He's also a huge nerd like me, and he one day was like, "Did you even ask Kylo Ren if he wanted to be your boyfriend?" He thinks he is good. And I was like, I didn't actually. So I guess he's not my boyfriend, but I wish that he was. And, he kind of laughed at that and was like, okay, makes sense. I don't think we're in a relationship because it's not like I can ask him. It's not like I can be with him, but I love living in the fantasy that we could be.
Okay. And you mentioned so far talking to your mom about this, and now your nephew. So it seems like you're very open about your fictophilia with family members and maybe friends.
Yeah, slowly but surely I've become more comfortable with it. My friends, I do have an amazing group of friends, and they are all different. Some of them have serious relationships and are sexually active. They feel whatever is normal to them. And I do have friends who fall into the asexual spectrum, and they define their own sexuality in their own way. And it seems like it's easy to be honest with them because they've always known something was different about me. I went on one date in my entire life, and everybody was super excited for it. And when I came back and I was like, I hated it. I think that was kind of like their inkling that, okay, wait, maybe it's not the same for her. She's a little different. That's fine. And they were accepting of that. So it's been easy to kind of express myself and what is going through my head.
For sure. I mean, also, I just had a question. Like, you mentioned Max, and then you mentioned Kylo Ren. Has there been anyone in between?
Oh, there's been tons, and
would love to hear it.
Sure, yeah. So, and what's interesting is when I became a teenager, I was super big into the emo scene. Still kind of am, not gonna lie. So the boys in bands or the girls in bands that I admired became sort of a replacement. And I slowly came to realize that was because in my teenage brain, I wasn't thinking they're real people, they're celebrities, or they're musicians and they're out there and they're unattainable, I guess, which is a big aspect of it. The unattainable is something that I really like, I think. And one of my, I guess, as celebrity crushes, he is a musician that I really admire and still do, actually hit on me once at a bar. It was really cool. And I was like, oh, cool, this is happening. And it's sort of like I hit a wall. And, he said, if you want to hang out, we have an open seat and, you can talk with me and whatever. And even then, when it should have been like, hell yeah, brother, let's hang out, I was like, you know what? I got to go home, because I think I knew deep in my soul that it's real. He's a real person, and what I'm attracted to is not this, and that's super unfair to him because he's great. But in between that, I mean, there's been all kinds of cartoons, I'm sure, like video game characters. I'm also a video game nerd. If you didn't have a crush on Master Chief, I don't know what you were doing. So, and Link from the Legend of Zelda series, super into that.
Popular one.
Oh yeah, super hot dude.
So I guess you kind of just answered my question with the story about the musician that you ended up meeting, because I was going to say if Adam Driver were to walk into the room right now and say, let's give this a go, let's go on a few dates, let's see if we're compatible, it just would not click for you because he is not portraying the character of Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's the realization I came to is, Adam Driver can be a mouth-wateringly hot dude and everything, but he's still not Kylo Ren. He's his own person. He is his own identity, and he is not the character he's portraying.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's hard, like, not that it's hard, but it's like, it's interesting because it's like, I'm not attracted to humans, but you are attracted to human characters.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to find the thing that kind of differentiates there. But it was a good example that you gave where you kind of knew like, oh, this person's real. So I guess it's just the pure, fantasy standpoint of like, it's kind of like when people see a movie and they're like, oh, the book was better, because when you're reading the book, you can imagine things a lot better than you can like, see it on a screen or whatever, especially for your own self. So I guess there's sort of a, correlation there.
Definitely. Throwback to the episode of the erotic hypnotism.
Yes.
The book is always going to be better than the movie because you can see it in your own head. And that's what it is for me all the time. Real life relationships, from what I can tell, aren't what it would be in my head, and everything is better in my head. And that's, as a writer, I think too, it's just something that fuels it, is everything's better in my head because I create it.
Right. And I guess, what I'm really trying to understand is, you kind of started the episode by saying, this journey of romance, feelings, sexuality is a spectrum. It's a journey for everyone. You don't always know the destination. And I guess when you think of, sexuality, for example, or love or romance as a spectrum, I guess this is just kind of expanding that spectrum, maybe more than I personally have thought about before, where, if it's in your head, if the feelings that you're getting are as real and as intense as, I would get with my wife who's physically with me. Like, if you are feeling those things and you're enjoying those things and living them in a sense, even though I guess you don't have that physical aspect, but you're still experiencing the emotions, then why not, I guess, right? Like, what makes that fake?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me, especially since I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't crave the intimacy of someone being with me and physical touch. I don't miss it. I don't crave it. And I don't feel like something is missing, I suppose. I mean, not that it wouldn't be cool to, suddenly Kylo Ren is a real person and he descends upon the heavens or whatever. That would be cool and all, but it's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that. I've faced it. It's real. It's true. It's a fact. And I can make it happen in my head, and sexually speaking, the masturbation aspect of it, because it's really what it is, I'm cool with that. Asexual is also like a gray area term to me, where some people don't like anything, no stimulation whatsoever. Some people like one thing but not another. For me, if it's just me, it's great. I know what I'm doing. I like myself. I'm comfortable with myself. Other people, not so much. So I tie that into it as well. Again, it's like the fantasy's better in my head. So, getting off is easy when you have that.
Right. And yeah. And I guess, if again, these feelings are that intense and enjoyable, I guess you don't necessarily feel lonely in the sense, like I know a lot of people would say, well, what about like coming home to someone that you can, sex aside, just talk about your day? But it seems like you kind of maybe slip into that anyway, just with this, the world, the conversations and everything that you're creating in your own mind.
Yeah. And I think that another way that I get that sort of thing, it's not really coming home to a romantic partner per se, but I do at the end of my day, I clock out of work and I'm done for the day. I hang out with my friends virtually right now. We're all just kind of playing video games together, and I get that from them. They are there for me in ways that I need, and I have family that I can speak with. And no, it's not really the same thing as speaking with a significant other, but I don't feel like I need that. And whatever else that I need in that sense, it just happens in my head.
Do you ever get into arguments with Kylo Ren in your head?
I don't. And that kind of takes away from the what real relationships are like, right? So everybody gets into arguments. That's human nature. It's part of the experience, but it's a part that I don't want. Sometimes scenarios in my head, there is aggression or anger. If I can see something that I've done, or if there's an emotion I felt that would be registered as betrayal in his mind, yeah, that could be a point of tension, and it's something that fuels the storyline. It's exciting. It puts a little spice into it, but I've never, thought about us actually being mad at each other, I guess.
Which the reason why I'm asking is because I'm saying, like, for anyone who's like thinking about like, oh, this is kind of weird or this and that, it's kind of like you're in a way you're never going to get let down. You're kind of in control here of how your relationship's going to be, and if you are with your creative job, you're good at imagining these things and creating these conversations. You could do that at any point, so you're never out of reach. You don't have to miss this person. You don't fight with this person. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
It's the perfect relationship.
Yeah, and especially because you're super comfortable with that, and you don't, necessarily need any of the other things. Like, I mean, this sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's freaking brilliant, dude. Like, you're happy all the time if you're lost in your own fantasy. And I know that there are people out there who are like, she needs a hobby, or like, she just needs a good dickin' or whatever. But no, I don't think I do. I have hobbies. I write, obviously. I paint. I pole dance. I love to do that. I have all kinds of hobbies, but it's more than a hobby to me. It's a connection, and it's important to me, and it's something I like to have, and something I think I deserve to have, no matter what it looks like.
Fuck
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I believe you when you say that, and I think that's what's so cool is it just comes across that, you genuinely mean this. And I guess who knows what the future holds, or those feelings could change, but it just seems like right now you genuinely have an understanding of, what you want, what you need, and what you enjoy, and you're just chasing what makes you happy. So then who's to tell you that, what works for them as, the right way to have a relationship or do something will work for you? Because it seems like it wouldn't.
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, I think for a long time I rejected the idea of love, and I didn't believe in it. But now I think maybe love isn't something that I have to deny myself just because it doesn't fit somebody else's standards. I can define what that is for me, and be happy with that, and really feel something that otherwise I don't think I'd have the opportunity to feel, the ability to.
Yeah, because when you think about it, I mean, we're talking about a feeling here. So there's no rules when it comes to feelings. So if you are feeling fully satisfied in a way that a person who is in love with another person feels satisfied, but you're getting it from your own, imagination, then who's to say that's not real?
Yeah, exactly. I think anybody, and a big reason that I really wanted to reach out to you guys is because there's probably someone out there who's feeling strange about the way they feel about maybe a fictional character. They found something that they really connect with, or someone, and just because it doesn't fit into a standardized box, fuck it, make yourself happy. It's worth it. You're worth it. And I think everybody is a little weirder than they let on. Everybody's weird,
For sure. For sure.
That's the truth.
Super weird. And I think, for us too, like, and for everyone listening, I guess the idea, like when you're talking about fictophilia, you can't think of it in terms of what we, like me, for example, or you, Joe, like what we would feel towards a fictional character. Like, it's not that you're living a life where you're just feeling lesser feelings because it's a fictional character. That's how we might feel. But for you, I guess, like what I'm really trying to wrap my head around is that the strength of the feelings that you feel towards the fictional characters it's the same strength or same intensity as someone like myself would feel towards a human that I love and care about.
Absolutely. I compare a lot to, when someone is just in a relationship, or they're like deeply in love with someone, and you're at work and you're working, but thoughts of them float into your head, and you smile to yourself, and you just think, I can't wait to think about that later. For me, can't wait to be with them later in my mind. It happens all the time. It makes me happy. It gives me that rush of just endorphins, and I truly do love a fictional character, and that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. Like, you seem really happy and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, it's the first time I've felt comfortable enough to really get it out there, and it feels fucking good.
I'm happy for you. Like it sounds like, I had zero expectations because I didn't really know where this was going at all. But, I'm genuinely happy for you. I think that you have it figured out. This is a fucking cheat code. Yeah. It's a glitch in the simulation here.
I figured
it out. Yeah, you're fucking reaping all the benefits from it.
I am. It's dope. It's a good life to live, at least for me,
Now, are you monogamous in this sense, or have you juggled a few characters at the same time?
This is the coolest question I've ever been asked. So I'm sure I've juggled in the past. I'm sure there's been some cross contamination, for lack of a better word. But right now it's all Kylo Ren, and it has been. I went to the movies and watched The Force Awakens, which was the first of the trilogy, and it awakened a force in me I didn't know was there.
That was some time ago.
Yeah, it was. It's been years, and it's like ever since I really got to know the character in that first film. It's like it's just grown. I haven't stopped thinking about them. There's been lulls, of course, between the films coming out, or if I'm busy in life. I'm sure that's how real relationships are too. You don't see your significant other for a while or something, but it hasn't stopped. The trilogy's over, and I'm still finding myself madly in love with Kylo Ren. I went to Disney, as I mentioned earlier, and I got to see what Star Wars land was like. It was fucking great. First of all, cosplayed. It was a blast. And it was cool seeing, of course it's just a person in a costume, but in my brain that day, I was in the presence of, my supreme leader and the love of my life. And it was thrilling. It was great.
I can tell you this right now. Like I also went, and when I was younger, I was a big Star Wars guy, and I was like, holy fuck, because they really do an amazing job. Like everything is Star Wars there, like down to like the napkins and the trash cans and everything, and they had the stormtroopers walking around. So I can only imagine for you being a big fan and also being in love with Kylo Ren, it must have been like, this is just fucking incredible. I'm surprised you didn't move in there.
Yeah, honestly, it's top 3, maybe even the best day of my life. It was fucking great. I had the best time, and I went with my friends. We all like to meet up once a year and go on a vacation of sorts. And I was like, please let me go to Disney. I really want to go see Kylo Ren. I have to go meet him. So they agreed, and we went, and it was a surreal experience. I was in the full fantasy, and I was actually living it instead of, sitting around thinking about it. And it was something I don't think any other thing could have replicated for me. So he has this presence about him. He's really good at emulating the character, and he walks out from the ship and straight up to me, and my legs were wobbly. I was so excited and scared at the same time. And my friends were just kind of like peering at me from behind a crowd, just giggling and shit, of course, because they know what's happening. That was enough to put in the spank bank for months on end.
Wow. Thank you so much for, just shedding light on this. And like we said, we knew nothing about this, and I feel like we have a really good understanding, and, above anything else, I just feel really happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah. Fictophilia I don't think it's a mainstream term or anything, but we're out here, and what we feel is real, as you can hear in my voice.
Great. Well,
for
thank
sure.
you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on and sharing. It's been lovely to talk to you. And like I said, I think that I'm happy for you. I think it's a cool thing, and fucking good for you.
Thanks so much. Hey, if you know anybody else who loves Kylo Ren just as much as me, send them my way.
I will do that.
We might have some people reach out when this episode drops, so we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah. Hey, if you're out there looking for a person who can exude the same sexual energy and not touch me.
Amazing. Well, all right. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Our first sponsor today is Stamps.com. This holiday season, more people will be mailing stuff than ever before. That means the post office is going to be extremely busy, not a fun place, long lines. No one's got time for that. I don't, you don't. Luckily, Stamps.com brings the post office and now UPS shipping right to your computer so that you can mail and ship anything from the convenience of your home or your office. You can really do anything that you could do at the post office with just a few clicks online. Plus, Stamps.com saves you money with big discounts that you actually can't even get at the post office. I've said it before, my business, Wing, cell phone service company, we are shipping hundreds of packages a day from the start to now. It's grown. They've helped us save a ton of money, avoid those long lines and the inconvenience at the post office. Basically, it's hassle-free, brings the service of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS right to your computer. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send it, and you can just schedule a pickup or a drop-off. So it's really that simple. You get 5 cents off every first-class stamp, up to 40% off priority mail, up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. That's a lot of savings. It's a no-brainer. Save your time and money. Over 900,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com, so that's saying something. So don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. You can use our promo code OPL to get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the homepage, type in OPL. That's Stamps.com, enter OPL. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. Guys, we all know how a VPN can protect your privacy and your security online, but what I didn't know until recently was that VPN can take your TV watching game to the next level. You can use a VPN to unlock movies and shows that are available in other countries. This is like a cheat code, I'm telling you guys. Have you ever traveled and you're in the UK or you're somewhere where their Netflix is different and you're like, they have way better movies than I'm getting right now? Well, with ExpressVPN, you can access other countries' Netflix, TV shows, things like that. It hides your IP address. It lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. So you can choose from almost 100 different countries. So seriously, think about all the Netflix libraries you get with that. It's endless movies, endless TV shows. Me and my brother, for example, we have this thing where we just love watching anime together, or Japanese movies, older things like that. So we used ExpressVPN and we literally accessed Japanese Netflix, which is something I thought I would never be able to do. So that was awesome. It works with any streaming service as well. Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. There's hundreds of VPNs out there, but ExpressVPN is ridiculously fast, especially when watching shows. There's never any buffering or lag. You can stream in HD, no problem, no matter which country you're tapped into. It's compatible with all devices, phones, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. So you can watch what you want on the go, on the big screen, wherever you are. And if you visit our special link right now, expressvpn.com/OPL, you get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself by going to expressvpn.com/OPL. Seriously, guys, if you like binge watching, if you like finding new shows, new movies, if you want to access libraries from all over the world, it's crazy how well this works, how fast it works. So definitely check this out. You won't regret it. It's really, really awesome. That's expressvpn.com/OPL. You get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free.
That lady's got it figured out. She's got it figured out.
You know what it might be? That might be the future with virtual reality. And
yeah,
AI.
I don't see why not.
That might be the relationship of the future.
Kind of like a Westworld situation, you know what I mean? Where you get to be in sort of this virtual reality world. But then I also don't, does that necessarily make them real? I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but I will say this. I think that like I said before, a lot of people are going to question this and they're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? This is mad weird, but which I obviously you get. But also at the end of the day, like I said before, it's a feeling of that feeling of love and having, comfort and the satisfaction of having that. It's just a feeling. So if anything gives you that feeling, then you have it. So you can't say that you'll never have that feeling or you'll never know what it's like to feel another person or this and that. Some people don't want that shit. Some people don't need it and they get it in other ways. And if they're getting it and they're happy, dude, it's one of the happiest people I've ever talked to in my life. You know what I mean? Like, you can just tell this woman was just having the time of her life talking to us about this. And that's just great to hear. And like, who is anyone to say that this is wrong or it's not real or this and that? Like, this woman's fucking real life happy. That's all I fucking know.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfectly. Like, clearly people will call this crazy. I get it. It seems like an extremely uncommon thing to talk out loud about. But yeah, I just wouldn't feel right trying to take the feeling and the sensation away from her, that is just, if she has found a version of happiness, she's just got to ride that out.
Dude, and like, I feel like a lot of people, like, obviously, I think there has been a lot of times where people have sort of not actually fallen in love, but like fell for these characters on TV. Like, honestly, for me, the first time I watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Mila Kunis's character, I'm not even a big Mila Kunis guy. Gorgeous woman, whatever. But the character in that movie that she plays, I'm like, I am in love with this fucking girl. Yeah. Like, she's just really cool. Like, I just thought she was great.
You and every other straight guy in the world who has watched that movie. But exactly. Well, that's why it's not that shocking, because clearly there's characters that are designed for that purpose. 100%. They're designed for an audience to fall in love with them, to care about them on enough of an emotional level to, make the movie interesting or realistic. But this obviously goes beyond that. But you're right. There's like a little bit of understanding from just like the emotions that certain characters in movies or shows can make you feel. Like, sometimes you just wish people were real just to hang out with them. But this is, I guess, is now just that feeling times a million. Like, whatever true love is for her, she's feeling that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I said, I think it's cool. I mean, that's why I asked her, like, do you ever, like, get into arguments? And, like, no arguments, no nothing. Talk whenever you want, at your leisure. Yeah, there's no, like, hey, we haven't talked enough or whatever. It's just you having a good time, doing your thing.
Yeah, and it just kind of, I think, speaks to, like, maybe her environment or the people that she surrounds herself with, because that's what seemed cool about it. She's talking about her friends who are like there supporting her, giggling. She's having conversations with her mom. Her nephew's asking about Kylo Ren being her boyfriend. Yeah. Like, it's not just a secret world that she escapes to when no one's looking. She has made it her world, and she embraces it. And it seems like the people around her embrace it too. So honestly, what more can you ask for?
I know. And one thing that I wanted to point out was that I have never, like, this woman is so sure of who she is, and it's so obvious. Like, you can tell that she is unapologetically herself. And because of this seemingly weird thing, everyone knows about, everyone's accepting of it. She has a good support system. She's clearly happy. Like, she knows who she is, and she's just fucking that. And I think if nothing else, that's what you can take away from this episode, is that that's what this woman is doing. Like, there's no shame, there's no nothing. It's like, this makes me happy, and it's fucking working out. And she's, she has a great support system too. There's not people who are like, oh yeah, fucking whatever. At least I don't, we didn't hear about that. But yeah, I think it's just fucking cool when people do stuff like that.
No, that's a great point. I think that's a testament to, when you do just own it, and when you have that confidence and you just kind of exude that, it's almost hard for people not to get on board when you're that comfortable in your own skin. So really, really cool. If there's a wedding in the future, we're going.
I'm going.
We're for sure going. Yeah. We love to turn up at weddings, so just invite us. But yeah, really, really cool.
turn on Celine Dion, you already know what's going to happen. All right. All right. Yeah. So for anyone out there who thinks they have something cool for the show, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Go to oplshow.com and hit the contact form and send us an email. We go through all of them. If we think it works for the show, we'll hit you up.
Yes, follow us on Instagram at OPL Podcast, where we post video clips and other fun things. Patreon at patreon.com/OPL Show. If you want bonus episodes, if you want to join our Discord chat, like Joe said in the beginning, it helps support the show, and you get all those extra features. We got a ton of follow-ups with guests. We've got my favorite Patreon episode ever, where Joe wore a diaper for 24 hours because we had the episode with a guy with an adult diaper fetish. So you get some great content like that is not going to appear on this main channel. So check that out, and it helps support the show.
Yep, and that is all. See you guys next time.